Hey, it's Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Monday, May 9th. So we do have the moon moving out of Leo and moving into Virgo energy. So the moon is going to go void, of course, around 8:40 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we'll be locking into Virgo energy around 7 p.m., which makes a very long waking day of the moon being void. Now, anytime that the moon is void, we want to stay away from making solid decisions, solid choices. We do not want to commit to anything. We are very emotionally and mentally unstable. It is a very wonky time, especially to have this much of a gap between the moon actually going void and the moon actually locking into the next sign. It's going to be a very difficult day to navigate. The Monday is the moon day. The moon rules over Mondays. That's why, typically speaking, Mondays are very heavy. We have a hard time getting out of bed. We have a hard time emotionally connecting to our physical reality. It's an overall emotional day. But here's the thing. We're moving out of the fire energy of Leo into the earth energy of Virgo. Now, that always feels like we hit a brick wall. It always does. It's taking us out of the higher realms of high vibes, of playful energy. Of course, we had that first quarter moon take place yesterday, which put us in a position to be bold, be brave and courageous, to take an action, to recognize what it is that makes us happy, where it is that we need to align ourselves with a new dream, a new vision, a new inspiration, and actually stop thinking about it, stop talking about it, but actually do something to move closer to it actually manifesting and coming to life. The thing about it is, when we move into earth energy, it sucks us down into our physical realms. We become very weighted in our physical form. And as you may know, the physical form is going through a lot of changes right now with the ascension symptoms that we spoke about in this week's forecast, with the weight, with the energy going on because of eclipse season and retrograde season. There is a lot to process. Even more than that, when we move into Virgo energy, especially this earth Virgo energy, we tend to get all up in our heads. Mercury rules over Virgo energy, and we are one day away from Mercury actually going retrograde. We're going to talk about that in a second. It's an extra layer of thinking, of intellect, of confusion added to the day. Typically speaking, we become in our headspace in Virgo energy. We're analyzing everything. We are taking the emotional chaos that we've been living in and we try to organize it. We try to make sense of it. We try to compartmentalize it. We want to put things in its place. We want to put things in order. So we do get a lot of productive energy work done while we're in Virgo energy. However, we are in Taurus season, an earth sign. Now the moon is moving into an earth sign. When I say that you will be very heavily weighted into your physical realm and the circumstances that you need to be focused on in your physical realm in the here and now, I do not hesitate to say that it's going to feel heavy. It's going to feel weighted. You're going to have a hard time attaching to your higher self. You're going to have a hard time reminding yourself of the greater, grander vision that is inspiring you, that is motivating you to make these changes. You will be stuck in the four walls of your mental plane and of your physical environment. Now, this is the very last day for Mercury being direct. Mercury is going retrograde tomorrow. And the confusion, the brain fog, the lack of being able to speak clearly as you're experiencing me struggle to try and get this out is only going to increase and intensify as Mercury goes retrograde. Today is also the last day that Jupiter, growth and expansion, will be in Piscean energy. It's been in that final degree of Pisces now for the last couple of days, really amplifying the heaviness, the weight, the dramatic emotional chaos, the reflective, I'm going to say, process of all of the endings and closures that have taken place. This is going to be a highly chaotic, emotional, and mental day. Just bottom line. That's just the way that it is. We have to kind of do the two-step shuffle to get through the day. And with the moon being void, of course, pretty much all day, it is going to feel hella wonky. So there are 10 different aspects taking place here today, and 9 of them involve the moon. So with that being said, right out of the gate, we have Venus, who is in Aries, semi-squaring the true node, which is our soul's point, our destiny's point. Venus being in Aries has been hella aggressive, hella volatile. We've been irritated, frustrated. We've wanted to make some very serious moves, especially in our personal relationships. There's a lot of activations, a lot of hurt trauma coming to the surface. Now, Venus bumping into the true node in this way is really kind of putting us in an uncomfortable position in order for us to realize where it is that we are growing through some growing pains, especially in our relationships. First and foremost, the relationship with ourselves. We are in Aries energy, which means that we are initiating a new level of self-love, self-value, self-worth. And that is a hard thing to jump into. We're not used to it. We've leveled up. We're still adjusting to this. We are very straightforward. We have new passions. We have new desires, but we're not moving as fast as we would like. Because the relationship dynamic with ourselves is what sets the tone for all the other relationship dynamics that we have in our life, we are realizing that we're not happy. Mostly we're not happy with ourselves, but that's getting mirrored back to us with how other people are treating us at this particular point in time. The true node, of course, is our soul's point, our destiny's point, the path that we need to be on in order to reach our soul's purpose, our soul's mission. The semi-square is a tension, it's a conflict. And although it doesn't feel good, we need to be uncomfortable in order to realize where change is needed the most. That's just human psychology. We don't do anything. We don't make any changes. We don't transform when we're happy-go-lucky and comfortable. We only do that when a source of pain and suffering gets to the point where we're tired of tolerating such things, such feelings, such thoughts, such relationship dynamics. And therefore, we're being pitted right now to recognize where it is that our relationships are changing dramatically in order to push us to grow. Now, we are going to have a choice point. We are having a little bit of a divine intervention as well because we're in eclipse season. We are having a situation unfold where we may be disconnecting from some people in our lives that we honestly thought was going to be around for the long term. Things are changing. Again, we're in eclipse season. These are changes that we have the opportunity to alter, to make, to decide upon, to do something about when we were in a straightforward energy of not being in eclipse season. Eclipse season is a divine script from the universe that sorts us out on the choices that we should have made for ourselves that we didn't, that now the universe is going to make for us to get us on the path that we were supposed to be on, that we should have chosen for ourselves, that we failed to do so. So does this feel good? No. Is it supposed to feel good? Absolutely not. Do we need to go through this? Absolutely we do, because again, you need to sit in an uncomfortable situation before you recognize what it is that you're no longer willing to tolerate. And from that acts as an inspiration, as a motivation, as a catalyst in order for you to make the change that you should have made. So huge, huge, huge perspective in what is changing in our personal relationships, in the dynamics of our personal relationships based on what we now realize we need to do for ourselves. The moon is going to square the true node. Okay, so we have this realization of where change is needed, especially because it's telling us in our relationship dynamics where we can't tolerate this anymore, where we don't like this, where we're not in alignment with these people. We get this realization. We recognize that we're going through a growth spurt right now. And then the moon, still in Leo energy, our heart, our soul, our vulnerability, our rawness, our passion, our desire, goes into the boxing ring with the true node, our soul's point, our destiny's point. So what this is illuminating for us is where we get a glimmer of where it is we want to move forward, what that requires of us to make a change, to do that transformation. Then suddenly our heart chakra gets activated and suddenly we bring up the past. Now we're romanticizing the past. Maybe we're, painting the people in our lives in a better color than they actually appear to be. Basically, this particular aspect is the past coming back to prevent us from making any progress, for moving forward, for getting on the path that we just recognize that we need to be on if we want to see any kind of change within ourselves and within our relationship dynamic. Does it feel good? No. Is it supposed to feel good? No. Do we need to go through it? Yes. We need to have this inner conflict in order to actually figure out how motivated we actually are to actually make the changes that we know are absolutely necessary. So we had Venus bump into the true node. Then we had the moon bump into the true node. And now the moon and Venus are going to have it out. So Venus has a lot of emotions. She has a lot of new thoughts, a lot of new ideas on where it is that she wants to up her worth, where it is that she sees a new value within herself. She's in Aries energy. This is bold. This is brave. This is a new initiative. This is new passion. This is new desire. This is a want, need, and desire for new experiences. And the moon in Leo is just trying to soften the edges just a tad, is just trying to say, really, do you really want to move away from this individual? Do you want to end this relationship? Are you sure you don't want to take another stab at it? Again, the past is trying to prevent us from moving forward. Right now, with this particular aspect, we are unsure of what it is that we want, need, and desire for ourselves because our emotions stuck in the past is trying to prevent our new emotions from moving forward into the future. Now things are going to get extra. Read all about it. Why? Because the moon is going to bump into Jupiter. As we talked about, Jupiter is preparing to make a big move here tomorrow, to move out of this Piscean energy and to start a brand new 12-year cycle for himself, moving into the very first sign of the zodiac wheel, which is Aries, that fire energy focused on the growth and the challenges that we've been faced and what that means for our egoic identity, where it is that we need to begin new things, initiate new things, where it is that we need to unleash the inner warrior in order to fight for what is right for us. We have been in Piscean energy fighting for what is right for everyone else. Now it's time to get a little bit, quote unquote, selfish. We have to do the work on ourselves if we stand a chance on making a difference to the greater, grander collective. So the moon bumps into Jupiter. This is big feelings. This is expansive feelings. This is a huge heart activation. This is a magnifier of what is going on in our heart space, what it is that we truly want for ourselves. This is shining a bright light on where it is that, the past is really digging in its heels, trying to make us stuck in a situation where we don't move forward, where we don't transform, where we don't enlighten ourselves. And that part of our heart space that just wants change. Now we are being illuminated. We are going to feel all the feels. This might even become to the point where it's a little bit overwhelming, where you want to run away, where you just want to curl up in bed until this particular energy passes. But let me tell you, it is absolutely necessary for you to acknowledge the thoughts and the feelings that are coming up at this time, because Jupiter is about to wrap up his particular life lessons that he's taught us over the last year or so while in this Piscean energy. So things are getting big. They're getting hella dramatic. They're getting hella intense in our heart space. We are fired up in all the right ways to burn the past to the ground, to free us to move forward. And it is at this particular point in time that the moon in Leo opposes, sits across from, has a little bit of a confrontation with Saturn, the Lord of Karma himself. So Saturn is in Aquarius energy, which is more about the collective, the roles and the responsibilities that we have to everyone else. While the moon in Leo, the Leo energy, is really only concerned with ourselves, our heart space, what we want, what we need, what we desire, our individual skills, our talents, what we can tap into in our egoic identity to bring forth to help the greater, grander collective. But here's the thing. The moon in Leo right now wants to put our own wants, needs, and desires at the top of the list. And now we're sitting across from the table from the Lord of Karma saying, well, you can't just think about yourself. You have to think about your actions and how your actions and what it is that you're going to do is going to affect other people. Well, Saturn, who is also futuristically focused right now in Aquarian energy, it's the visionary. We have to get a grasp of the dream and the vision of the future in order for us to understand what we have to get to work into building right now. Saturn is also trying to push us in the realm of the roles and responsibilities that we need to commit to, we need to rise up to in order to do what is right for the collective. The moon in Leo, emotionally, we don't care what is best for everybody else right now. We need to get back to caring about what is best for us. So we have this conflict. Now, Saturn is all about roles and responsibilities, structures and foundations. And we have, in the past, been making our choices based off of what we think other people want from us, what we think that other people would be happy about if we chose to spend our time pouring into other people. Hate to tell you, my friends, but the, let's call it the roles in our life are rapidly changing. Many of us have been co-starring in the movie that is supposed to be about us. We're supposed to have starring roles. We've been constantly giving our power away to other people, allowing them to be the front and center of our worlds. And where has that gotten us? Well, I'm going to speak for many of us. It's gotten us beat down and broken. And so we recognize right now that in order for us to actually have an influence on, anyone else, the ability to help anyone else, the greater, grander collective, we have to do what is right for us first. You cannot be an unhappy, unfulfilled person out there pouring into other people's cups while yours is empty. That is not going to work. That is not going to manifest anything. So this little confrontation that we're having here is a big one because emotionally speaking, we're tired. We're tired of overextending ourselves to make other people happy. We have to get back to doing what we want to do. We have to fill up our heart space. We have to do what is right for us. We have to focus on healing ourselves if we stand a chance of being able to help anyone else. And that is going to require us to kind of tweak the roles and responsibilities in our lives. Many of us have signed up to roles and responsibilities in our lives and made commitments to other people. And we essentially are getting the life force energy sucked out of us. We dread having to do some of the things that we've committed to doing because it makes other people happy. And what would people think if I just decided to stop? What would people think of me if I put myself first? So this is a really, really strong confrontation and inner battle. And this is the last aspect that the moon is going to make before going void, of course. So now we're entering into unstable territory. Okay. Everything's shaky. Everything's questionable. We don't know right from left or up from down until the moon locks into Virgo energy. So we have this little one-off with the Lord of Karma, really kind of opposing our heart space versus what we feel compelled we should be doing for other people. Then the moon goes ahead and is about to bump into Neptune and Pluto in not the nicest way. In a way that would suggest that there is going to be a situation, an activation, a trigger in our exterior realms that will pop off, that will give us an opportunity to put into practice all that we've learned. So let's talk about this for a second. First of all, the moon bumping into Neptune in this way is going to be highly confusing emotionally. This is Neptune energy, dreams, higher self, soul contracts, endings, closures, but in a negative context, which means that we're running away from facing reality. We are so overstimulated, feeling so many different things. We don't know whether it's our energy or the energy of people around us. And we almost get to a point where we check out of reality altogether. We start deluding ourselves. We start living in imaginary land until this energy passes. Now, here's the thing. If a situation pops off in our exterior realms, this is an opportunity for us to do things differently. If we react in the same old, that is our ego winning. If we can take a time out and act as the observer and see where it is that situations are popping off in order to see whether or not we've actually learned anything, whether or not we're going to be able to implement a new reaction, a new behavior, a new form of communication to basically initiate a brand new way of dealing with our reality, then we win, okay? We are gifted opportunities every single day to see whether or not our egoic selves are going to remain in control or whether our higher selves are going to provide us with an opportunity to do what is right from the highest point of view for all interest of the people involved. But we're wish-washy, we're overwhelmed, we're highly confused right now. And here's the thing, that takes place at 8:51 a.m. The moon doesn't bump into Pluto until 4:09 p.m. So we're sitting in this confusion. We are detached from reality. We are trying to run away from our circumstances. We're trying to paint it in a beautiful color that it just isn't. Okay, we're trying to mask our reality, soften the blow just a tad. Can be very overwhelming, can also lead us into a little bit of an emotional delusion. So 4:09 comes around in the afternoon and the moon goes ahead and bumps into Pluto. Now Pluto is retrograde, as you know, in Capricorn energy, taking us on an inner journey to face our shadow selves, the pain, the suffering, the trauma that we've accumulated, reminding ourselves of all that we've gone through, not to put us in a paralysis state of victimhood, but instead to inspire us and motivate us to make a change. Now here's the thing. The outside trigger point, the outside activation point is going to trigger us, trigger our shadow self, the ugliest part of ourself, again, giving us an opportunity to either fall victim to the same old past patterns and behaviors that our ego has us just entrenched in, or Pluto is going to give us an opportunity to boss up to a new level of observation, a new level of authority, a new level of power, where we take control from our higher self, acting as the observer. We take control over our response, over our reaction, and do something differently, to not pour into the victimhood mentality, to not keep us in a state of, oh, woe is me, poor me, sob story, blah, blah, blah. I can't move forward because this happened to me. This gives us an opportunity to boss up in all the right ways. Again, the choice is yours. Now, the moon is going to bump into Chiron in not the most pleasant way. Chiron is the wounded healer, and let me tell you, the wounds are going to be wide open. There's going to be salt falling from the sky to illuminate where the salt is falling in those wounds in order to make you really pay attention to your egoic wounds and what is happening right now because of this outside trigger, this outside activation. Is it going to feel good? No. Do we have to feel it? Yes. Why? Because we have to feel what it is that we have to heal. If you are not feeling, you are not healing. So it's okay to feel dark, feel angry, irritated, frustrated, hopeless. It's okay to feel that, but we're not going to set up camp there. We're going to recognize that this is a deep, dark place that we have to visit every now and then in order to remind us why we got to keep on fighting to build a better scenario for ourselves. So that wound that Chiron is going to illuminate us to, it is going to hurt. It's going to sting like a bugger, but it is absolutely needed to remind us what it is that we're working so hard to heal for, so that we don't have to sit here and keep ripping the scabs off of these wounds and repeating past patterns and situations over and over again. The moon is going to bump into Jupiter in not the most pleasant way. Essentially, this is a huge amount. Again, reminder, Jupiter's at the final degree of Pisces. That's a big deal. That's an overwhelming deal. That is an emotional upset, an emotional upheaval. Jupiter wants us to grow. He wants to illuminate the pain. He wants to illuminate the struggle so that we can grow from it. The moon bumping into Jupiter is likely going to magnify and amplify our emotions, our thoughts, our state of confusion over the situation that popped off earlier. We're still in an opportunity where we can integrate what it is that we've learned and make a different choice for ourselves, overriding the egoic response and behaviors that we have that are not conscious. They're unconscious behaviors that we are constantly repeating because we refuse to take a minute out and align to our higher self to see the greater, grander lesson here. The plan. What is the setup? What is this situation trying to tell me? Why is it's not, why is this happening to me? Why is this happening for me right now? What am I supposed to see from this? What is being exposed to me and illuminated to me that I did not previously see? This is an opportunity for growth. It's not going to feel good. It's emotionally chaotic. It's emotionally overwhelming. Our heart chakras are just wide open and activated at this particular time, and for good reason. This is when the moon locks into Virgo energy. Thump. We get hit with a ton of bricks. We are very aware of our physical bodies. We are very aware of our physical circumstances. Our mental planes are hella chaotic. Our heart spaces are just ripped wide open. What do we do with it? We get to work. Virgo energy is going to help us sort things out. We are over analytical in Virgo energy, highly critical and judgmental, especially of oneself, but we want to focus on the details of what's happening in our physical realms, in our heart space, in our head space. We have to understand what is going on in order to put order to it. We have to understand the chaos. We have to be identifying the chaotic parts in our inner realms, in our external circumstances, in order to actually fix it. Virgo is the fixer. It's the healer of the physical realm, of the physical body, of the mental plane, of the heart space, of the physical form. This Piscean energy that Jupiter is in sits across from the Virgo energy. So we are really at our limits where we are just tired of this energy. We are going to do something about it. We are going to get down to the nitty gritty on what needs to change within our heart space, within our head space, in our inner realm, so that we can position ourselves in our physical circumstances, in the external realm, to clean up the mess that is currently being made. The last thing we got going on here today, almost at the very end of the day, right before midnight, again, Eastern Standard Time, is that the moon, now in Virgo energy, is making a positive, harmonious aspect with Venus. You may remember we started the day off with Venus, semi-squaring the true node, really putting us at odds with how it is that we're thinking and feeling, not only in the relationship with ourselves, but the relationship dynamics in our lives right now that are currently falling apart. The moon, now in Virgo, is grounded. We have the sun in Taurus, grounded, focused on the physical realm of what it is that we need to start building and creating for ourselves so that we can enjoy ourselves, take care of ourselves, find happiness and joy regardless of what's going on, and find those relationships that are of like-minded energy and vibration and frequency that want to love and encourage and support us in the way that we absolutely want, need, and desire. We have the moon now in Virgo energy grounding us out, bringing us down to earth, bumping into Venus. Venus rules over Taurus season. Venus is in Aries, who just wants to initiate new beginnings, new ways of taking care of herself, new relationship values, new money matters. She is aggressive in Aries energy, and the moon bumping into Venus in Aries is going to help sort us out where it is that we feel blocked, where it is we feel stunted, where it is we feel restricted and held back from actually moving forward. Right? Venus in Aries energy doesn't want to look back. We got our blinders on. We flip the rear view mirror so that we can't even see what's behind us. We don't even look in our side mirrors because we don't care. We have a vision for the future. We have a direct, straightforward path between us and what it is that we want, need, and desire. The moon in Virgo is going to help us get down to the linear process, that the logical, practical process that we need to do first in our heart space to get in alignment with what it is that we are willing to do as far as make moves, be bold, be creative, be courageous enough to actually go after what it is that we want, and to show us what it is that we're no longer willing to tolerate. That's a big deal. We got to get our emotions in check first. The moon in Virgo is going to help sort us out. Our mental plane is second, and we're having a hard time because we're just hours away from Mercury going retrograde. but the moon bumping into Venus at this time is going to check off a lot of boxes on where it is that we might have lost focus over these last couple hours, where we might have went a little bit cray-cray, where we were definitely overwhelmed by other people's motivations in life. And now we're kind of getting grounded. We're saying, okay, you know what? The situation happened. We can't paint it in any other color other than what it's appeared to be. These are the facts. These are the details. What do you want to do with it? Now we're getting real. Now we're getting productive. Now we're going to sort things out. We're going to give our emotions and our thoughts order, organization, a system, a structure that we will be able to use in the coming days to put into action in order for us to break away from the old and step that much closer to the new.